Benefits of exercise, it's going to improve your coordination, balance, and your flexibility. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Coordination, balance, and flexibility, they're all things that if you don't use it, you lose it. I'm a personal trainer, and I have worked with many people who are maybe in their 60s or 70s, and they say, well, I'm getting old. I just, my balance isn't there anymore, and my flexibility's gone. But unfortunately, you know, we can't blame it on that. It really is one of those things that if you're practicing it and if you're keeping up with it, you are going to stay flexible. You're going to have that balance and that coordination. That is truly something that leaves you because you quit practicing it. And if you have lost it, you can always get it back. So, you know, just start practicing it, start working on your flexibility, coordination, and balance. Some good ways to do that are through yoga or Pilates. So if you're kind of trying to think to yourself, you know, maybe I do feel like I have lost some of my coordination, my balance, my flexibility. How do I get that back? Start by some yoga or Pilates. Both of those are really focused on balance, coordination, and flexibility. You can find different things on YouTube or, you know, however you want to go about that. But definitely something that you can get back if you've lost it. If you still have it, please keep up on it so you don't lose it. The number one reason I think people exercise, you know, not for everybody, but the majority of people, they want to look better. So they want to decrease that body fat percentage and increase their muscle. And exercise is absolutely going to help you achieve that goal. It's also going to help strengthen your bones. So especially, you know, for females who are maybe starting to get into their 50s, 60s, you really need to focus on weight-bearing exercise so that you can strengthen those bones and help prevent osteoporosis and osteopenia. So make sure, you know, for everybody, it's important to have strong bones, but I would say, especially if you are a female, you know, and you're getting into those 50s and 60s, definitely that's going to help prevent osteoporosis and osteopenia. Exercise is going to increase your metabolism, energy level, and endurance. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Knowing that those things are going to happen when you exercise, what do you think a good time of the day would be to exercise? If you had your choice of, I want to exercise this time of the day, what do you think?
First thing.
You got it. Yeah. For most people, first thing is going to be the best time because it sets up your day. There's a lot of benefits to that. A, your exercise is done, so you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day. But B, your metabolism is kicked into high gear. What you're eating throughout the day is going to burn off faster because your metabolism is high. Your energy level and your endurance, you're going to be able to focus on projects that you have to do. You're not going to feel as sluggish throughout the day. So yeah, absolutely. Knowing you're going to get those benefits from an exercise session. Yeah. First thing in the morning. If you can't get it then, lunchtime's another great time to do it, especially if you are someone that actively is working throughout the day. Taking a lunch break, exercising, that's going to really help you come back to work and feel more focused and more energized, and really be able to tackle different projects better throughout your afternoon. A lot of people tell me, you know, after lunch, I just feel so sluggish and I feel tired. You know, maybe around 2 or 3, I start getting really tired. You know, just getting up and moving is really going to help with that. And also, of course, watching what you're eating at lunch. If you're just packing, you know, a lunch that's just full of carbs, it is going to make you feel a little bit sluggish when all those carbs start to kind of wear off throughout your afternoon. Exercise is also going to decrease your chances of cancer, stress, insomnia, stroke, diabetes, and heart disease. So we're going to talk a lot about the stroke, diabetes, and heart disease as we move forward, but thinking and actually stress as well. So here we're just going to take a minute and talk a little bit about insomnia. Exercise really does help with your sleeping. So if you are one of those people that in the evenings, you just really struggle to fall asleep or to stay asleep, exercise can really help. With one little caveat that I want you to keep in mind. We just talked about how exercise does increase your energy level. So if you're exercising at, you know, say 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and you want to fall asleep around 9, 10, or 11, that might cause a problem. And it doesn't for everyone. Some people can't exercise and go straight to sleep. But a lot of people, myself included, once I get that energy level up, it's really hard for me to kind of unwind and fall asleep. So keep that in mind. If you're using exercise to help with your insomnia, it's going to be more important to exercise, during the day than in the evening. Exercise is also going to make you feel and look better, of course. And if you're feeling better physically, then you're automatically going to feel better mentally too. So win-win there. Lots of really, really good reasons here to exercise. And unfortunately, there's still so many people that don't. And we're going to kind of talk through a couple different reasons why I think that is, and some ways that we can kind of get around that. So the 5 core aspects of an exercise program: cardiovascular, so getting that heart rate up, getting it pumping, getting a little bit of a sweat on. Strength training, whether that is Pilates, body weight strength training, whether that's, high reps and low weight, or high weight and low reps, doesn't matter as long as you're strength training. Flexibility and balance as well. I'm so sorry. Can you guys hear that? My dog's sitting here whining. He wants out. I apologize for that. And then making sure you mix it up. Mixing it up is important so that you're getting all the different things that your body needs, because I'm not saying that any one of these is necessarily more important than the other. They're all very important. So you need to make sure you're getting all of them, but also changing it up is really going to help your body continue to be challenged and to continue to move forward on your fitness journey, versus if you're just always doing cardio, or if you're always doing strength training. You're really, plateauing is going to probably occur if you're not changing it up and if you're not challenging your body in different ways. How fitness impacts your heart. So if we're looking at only our heart right now, and the exercise that we're doing, what's actually happening in our body that is improving our heart's health? Cardiovascular exercise strengthens the heart and the cardiovascular system. It's going to decrease your blood pressure and your cholesterol. And we do know that people that have high blood pressure, high blood pressure is twice as common in people who are obese. So that exercise and bringing the, your weight down through exercise is a wonderful thing to do for your blood pressure. It's also going to lower the buildup of plaque in your arteries. So it's going to increase your HDL, which is a cholesterol. It's your good cholesterol. And the way I always like to remember this is if it's your good cholesterol, your HDL, you want that high. The higher, the better. Okay, so when you get your labs done with your doctor, just keep in mind that the higher that number is, the better. That's your protective cholesterol. Exercise is an excellent way to get that HDL up, as well as eating healthy fats such as fish, nuts, avocados, those kind of things. That's going to help with the HDL as well. And exercise is going to decrease your LDL. That's your bad cholesterol, and you want that to be low. So HDL you want high, LDL you want low. You can always remember that by your H's and your L's. But exercise is going to help you achieve both of those. How fitness is going to impact glucose and diabetes. Diabetes and prediabetes are always going to be better controlled with exercise. Cardiovascular and strength training have been shown to decrease glucose levels in the bloodstream, which is then going to improve blood sugar control and reduce release of insulin in the body. Insulin likes to store body fat. This action is reduced with exercise, of course. So that all makes sense as to how that's connected. And how it's really going to help you manage your diabetes and help you prevent, even potentially if you're pre-diabetic, prevent actually getting full-blown type 2 diabetes. Waist circumference. So we all want a small, nice little waist, but it's not just for physical purposes. It really is related to our health. So the larger your waist is, the more strain, the more negative impact that has on your heart. So waist circumference has a large impact on your heart health. Carrying excess weight in your midsection is going to increase your chance of heart disease, diabetes, and cancer, because the insulin resistance will increase, which can lead to hypertension. So recommended, women should be under 35 inches, men should be under 40 inches. And I get this question as a personal trainer all the time. what kind of crunches should I do? Because I have too much, I really want a smaller waist. I really want a leaner waist. What crunches should I do? And my answer is always going to be abdominal crunches just aren't enough. There's no amount of abdominal crunches that you can do that's going to get your inches where they need to be in a healthy range. It's always going to be cardio and healthy dieting. Those are both going to be so important, because without that, the crunches are strengthening your core. So that's wonderful. We need strong cores. It's the root of our whole body. It's the center of our whole body. So it's important for that to be strong. But if we're just looking at the waist circumference and trying to decrease inches, crunches aren't the way to do it. It's going to have to be cardio and eating healthy. For the healthiest heart, we recommend moderate to intense physical exercise for 30 to 45 minutes on most days of the week. And if you're not there yet, feel free to just start small. Start at 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then build your way up till you get to the 30 to 45 minutes. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Also, it's hard to find time sometimes. It's hard to find a solid 30 to 45 minutes sometimes. So there is no shame in doing 15 minutes here and then 15 minutes here and 15 minutes here. Get it in where you can. There's always a way to squeeze in exercise. You just got to make it a priority and figure out how to do it. Trying to figure out the best heart rate for your heart health is kind of tricky. If you want to figure out what your target heart rate is and take your heart rate while you're working out, or maybe wear a watch that'll do that for you, that's always an option, and that's totally fine. If you want something a little more easy and simple, I like to use the sing versus the talk test. And so what that is it's saying that when you're exercising and when you're doing cardio, you should always be able to talk. You should never be so winded that you literally can't talk to someone, but you shouldn't be able to sing. So if you're doing your cardio and you can sing along to whatever's going on in your earphones or on your radio, you really do need to bump it up a little bit if you expect that to be counted as your cardio. You do want to be a little bit winded, breathing deep, and challenging yourself a little bit. Casual walking isn't really enough. Casual walking is better than nothing. So if that's all that you're willing to do, please do it. But if we really are thinking about how are we going to strengthen our heart, you need to challenge it a little bit. You need to increase your heart rate. You need to sweat a little bit. Break a sweat. When you go out for your walk and you enjoy it, just think, okay, can I go a little bit faster? Am I out here just to enjoy it? And it's a leisurely walk, or am I really trying to say, okay, I need to challenge myself here. I'm going to speed it up just a tad. And same thing here, work your way up. If you aren't, somebody that goes at a fast pace and is breaking a sweat at this point with your walks, then, just take it day by day and just try to increase it a little bit every single time. With any exercise, warming up and cooling down is really, really going to be important to your health and to making sure that you can continue to work out, honestly, because if you're not warming up and you're not cooling down, you're going to increase your chances of injury, which is then going to decrease the chances of you continuing to work out down the line because you're going to have injury. So warming up, just 3 to 5 minutes of a light walk, or just, kind of getting your heart rate and your blood flowing a little bit. That's going to be really important, especially in this cold weather. Super easy to pull muscles right now because it's cold and they just get really tight. Our muscles are like a rubber band. When they're warm, they're a lot more flexible, but when they're cold, it's a lot easier to snap, just like a rubber band would be. So we really do need to warm up. And then cooling down is going to be important for a couple different reasons. If you are doing a hardcore cardio workout and you just stop, your heart rate might come down too fast. You might feel lightheaded. People have passed out. You really do want to bring that down nice and slow. But also part of cooling down is going to be the stretching aspect of that. And that is just, again, you can do 3 to 5 minutes of stretching. It's going to help with your flexibility, but it's also going to help decrease the chances of you being sore the next day, or at least decrease the soreness. Or maybe sometimes it's 2 days later. It's not always the next day that you're sore, but the stretching is going to help with that piece, the after workout soreness. And if you're somebody that's not physically active right now, please make sure that you do check with your physician to make sure that there's nothing that you should kind of be staying away from or be cognizant of before you start that program. Okay, I'm going to pause just for a second. Any questions so far? Or comments, anything?
How much water should you drink when you're exercising?
When you're exercising, well, without exercising, they say 64 ounces a day. And so, I'm not exactly sure how much. I think it's going to depend on the exercise that you're doing. If you are running a marathon, you're going to need a lot more water than somebody that's just walking 2 miles a day. So I think we just need to remember, at least getting that 64, at least, because that's for somebody that's sedentary. That's for somebody not doing any exercise. So but then making sure that we're really focused on, okay, I did get rid of a lot of sweat today through my run or through my stepper or my elliptical or whatever. So I do need to stop. I need to get that back. So just making sure that you're thinking about, okay, I really do need to replenish that whatever I lost. So I'm sure that if you wanted, more of a specific answer, you could put in online. You could just probably Google that, what you're doing, like what you're exercising, and try to figure out how much water is needed from there. That's not the most direct answer, but it's just hard to say because everybody's so different and the exercise everybody's doing is so different.
Abby, there is a question in the chat. Tom is asking, what should your heart rate be?
Yeah, so there's something called a target heart rate. And then there's a resting heart rate. And for everybody, that's going to be different. So again, there's a formula to this. It depends on how much you weigh, how old you are, that you could go, again, I hate to tell everyone to just go to the internet, but it's a very basic algorithm that it'll tell you if you weigh this much and you are this old, subtract, I think it's 220 from that, and then it'll give you what your target heart rate should be, but it's going to be different for everyone. Anything else before we move on?
How important is high intensity exercise versus just steady state training?
So I think I heard you ask, how important is high intensity exercise? Was that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, yeah, so high intensity exercise it's pretty important in my opinion. So high intensity interval training, also known as HIIT exercise, that is, bringing your heart rate up and down and up and down. Excellent for your heart. That will challenge your heart. It will also help you burn calories faster than if you just go and say run 3 miles at the same pace the whole time, and it's just your average regular pace. So getting that heart rate up is really important. It's going to help your heart. It's going to help you lose weight. So yeah, I would say that it's. Did your screens just go black? My shared screen? Or can you see that?
Yes, it went to
there is something wrong with my computer.
your computer. Today. There we go.
My computer went black, and then
yeah,
those files popped up. I'm really sorry. I don't know what's wrong with it today, but so yeah, it is really important. I think, if you're someone who doesn't do any high intensity training or exercising, that's okay. Because not everybody likes that. So just getting your heart rate up is better than nothing. Like, I am happy if everybody's just up and moving and exercising. But if you have goals that you're trying to reach, whether it's weight loss or improving your heart health, high intensity training now and then, maybe a couple times a week is really going to help with that. All right. Was there any other questions before we move on? Okay. So stressful situations. Stress is inevitable. We all have it. We can all relate to being overwhelmed, to feeling anxious, to having too much on our plate, not enough time. We see that 7 out of 10 adults report experiencing stress and anxiety every single day. Probably not surprising to you that that's the case. Some different things that drive our stress and anxiety. COVID, oh my goodness, who hasn't been impacted by that in some way, shape, or form in the last couple of years? And if you haven't, I want to know what your secret is, because sign me up. But work and work-life balance, that's really hard, super hard, especially now with COVID, when a lot of people are working from home. Sometimes it's hard to stop your work and focus on your family because it's there all the time. Money, of course, is always going to be really, really hard. Family, relationships, and being short on time, all of those things can be really hard on people. And some people have a lot of those things. And so their stress levels are just so high. And so we're going to talk about how exercise can actually impact those feelings and those issues. A lot of times people get that anxious feeling and that stressful feeling, and they think, I just want to eat a bowl of macaroni and cheese and a candy bar and cake, and that'll make me feel better. Listen, I have been there. I've tried it many times. I am not a fast learner. I've tried it many times. But I can tell you, it has never actually got rid of my stress or my anxiety. If anything, it's made it where I feel guilty for eating that and behaving that way. Then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's another thing for me to feel stressed about, right? Or anxious about, is the junk I just ate. So alcohol is another thing. It's the same idea. Trust me, I've tried that one too. I've had a really bad day. I'm so stressed out, gonna have myself a glass of wine. Sleeping, when you get to the point where you're so stressed and anxious that you just want to sleep, that's not a good way to manage that stress. Then a lot of times stress and anxiety does make us moody. We're human. When we're having that feeling, it's really hard to be a happy, positive person all the time. Drugs, and I'm not talking about prescription drugs from your doctor. I'm talking about other drugs that like street kind of drugs can help, or people can use for stressful situations. And then just being lazy and sedentary, no motivation. So what I want to challenge you with is, the next time you feel just super stressed, anxious, like you're just going to explode, try exercise. Just try it. And you know what? If I am wrong and you still feel that way, then at least you burn some calories, and that comfort food or that alcohol or being a little more sedentary is maybe going to balance out a little bit for you. Because I can tell you from personal experience, and some of you may have experienced this, exercise can just make you feel like a weight's been lifted off your shoulders. It really works wonders for stress and for anxiety. And we're going to talk a little bit about why that is. But please, I really encourage you, if you're not one that has ever tried exercise to manage your stress and anxiety, please try it. Give it a shot. It's not going to hurt anything. It's worth a go. One of the top recommended ways to cope with stress and anxiety by healthcare professionals is exercise. It's going to improve physical condition and fight diseases. It's going to decrease fatigue and increase energy. So how many times is our anxiety and our stress because we're tired and we just don't have the motivation or the energy to want to do what we need to do? So exercise is going to help with that. We already talked about the insomnia. It's going to help improve your sleep. And again, it's kind of like a big circle that we're in, because if we're really tired, our bodies are immediately going to feel more stressed and anxious about the things that we have to do through the day. And then if we're feeling really stressed and anxious, we aren't going to sleep well. And so it's this, spinning that we just can't get out of, but exercise can help us get out of that because it's going to help us sleep and it is going to help us have more energy and feel less stressed. It's going to also improve your alertness and concentration. Who doesn't want that? I mean, honestly, so many people I talk to, including me, sometimes you just feel like you're in a fog and you can't concentrate. Maybe that is because you have low energy or because you haven't been sleeping well. But also, if your brain is so bogged down with stress and anxiety, it's hard to focus. But exercising is going to help improve your alertness and your concentration, which then is going to help improve your stress and your anxiety. Science has shown aerobic exercise decreases overall level of tension and stimulates anti-anxiety effects. When you exercise, your overall health is better, which in turn will improve your sense of well-being, and exercise improves your memory. So thinking about your brain health, it's going to improve your memory, your concentration, your alertness. It's so good for your brain and for clearing your brain and for focusing. I love this right here. Exercise is the most potent and underutilized antidepressant, and it's free. My wish is that more people would just give this a shot. It is so good for your mental health. It's crazy. I know a lot of people that exercise a lot and they say that they do it because of their mental health. That is their reason to exercise, is to help manage their stress and to, just be able to function. They say that it burns off their crazy. Have you heard that? Exercise burns off my crazy. It's getting that anxiety out of you. So how does this work? What is happening in your brain? Exercise produces endorphins, which are your brain's feel-good neurotransmitters. By show of hand, how many of us have exercised and when we were done, we were like, man, I feel good. I feel energized. I feel positive. I am ready to go, right? Have some of us felt that before? It's amazing. It's amazing. It really does work wonders. Chemicals in the brain that act as painkillers, it's going to release the chemicals in the brain that act as painkillers and improve the ability to sleep. It increases the dopamine and serotonin levels, which is what's going to help you to improve your mental focus. Stress impacts the brain, and due to the many nerve connections between the brain and your body, it makes sense that if your body feels better, so does your mind, right? That's a good, clear connection that we can make. We already talked about how much better it is, how good it is for our brain. And then that makes sense how we're physically going to feel better as well. Oxygen increase leads to every single organ. So when you're doing your cardio, or even if, maybe it's a body weight toning, but your heart rate's getting up and your oxygen levels are increasing, it goes to every organ. It helps to heal and helps for those organs to get the nutrients and hormones needed more efficiently. So, you can always take advantage of that during your exercise too. And maybe it's, oh my gosh, my quads are burning so bad. That's all I can think about. Or, oh, I'm getting pretty winded here. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating so bad. But you know what? If you're focused on that, at least for a short amount of time, you're not focused on what is stressing you out and causing you anxiety. So what form of exercise is best? I kind of alluded to this already in our presentation. If you're doing any form of exercise, that's great. It's better than nothing. What we're talking about here today is if you're really looking for ways to improve your exercise program or to improve your heart health. Just getting up and moving is a lot more than a lot of people do. So, make sure that you're not taking this as you have to have this really intense exercise program. This is just like our ideal workout program would have all of this, okay? So what form is best? Any form of exercise from aerobic to strength training to yoga, they're all going to help improve your mental health and your outlook. Certain types of yoga are focused on presentism, positive thinking, and relaxation. So just as an example, if you are someone that is interested in getting a little more into yoga, but doing all of these, having all these benefits, I attended a Yin Yoga class yesterday. Oh, it was amazing. It hit all of these things plus flexibility. So if you were interested in getting into yoga a little bit, you can always go to a yoga studio. You can always go to YouTube. You literally in YouTube, I use it all the time. You can type in 15-minute Yin Yoga and it'll pop up something for you. You can type in 1 hour power yoga. It'll pop up stuff for you. So kind of mess around with that. And that will really open your eyes to what kind you like, what kind of yoga you like. There's so many different kinds. Well, all of them should be really focused on being present, being mindful, and, when we're talking about mental health, that relaxation piece and being present is super important. Yoga and Pilates have a large focus on stretching, which can relieve body tension caused by stress. How many of us, as we're stressed out or as we're feeling more anxious and it's building up, our shoulders start going? And sometimes you got to think, okay, roll those shoulders back, bring them down, elongate the neck a little bit, maybe stretch out the neck, because that's really where headaches come from. That's where headaches come from, knots, tension, sore neck, sore shoulders. So just kind of making sure that you're paying attention to what your body's doing when you are feeling stressed and anxious. That's going to be a huge help for you. Some different things to keep in mind. Fitness will improve your health and well-being, but it's imperative for a healthy heart. So there's all these benefits, but if you want to have a healthy heart, you really have to be exercising. You really have to take care of that heart. Any amount of exercise is going to be better than no exercise. Try to exercise at the time of day when your energy level is the highest. If you're feeling super, super sluggish, exercise is going to help with that. So then that's great. However, a lot of times what I find is if people are feeling super sluggish and it's kind of their brain's max, they're done, they're tired, they won't take that step to do the exercise so that it can have that positive impact. You're going to enjoy your exercising more when you have more energy as well. So, and then focus on exercise that you enjoy. If you don't like it, you probably aren't going to stick with it. That's why I say if you're someone who likes to walk, and that's all you like to do, please keep doing it. Because no matter how much I tell you, oh, well, you really need to go lift weights, if you hate every second of it, you're not going to stick with it. And really what I'm trying to encourage here is a lifestyle changes, things that you're going to stick with throughout. Also experiment with different kinds of exercises. So maybe you don't like going to the gym and getting on the treadmill or the stepper or the elliptical, but maybe you like to dance. Again, go to, buy a DVD, go to YouTube, experiment with Zumba, try different things until you find something that is good for you, that you like, that you can stick with. And when you start getting bored with one thing, because we all do, I do, we all do. When you start getting bored with one kind of exercise, start experimenting with another. Check out something else. Maybe it's kickboxing. Maybe it's, I don't know. There's so many different things out there. Experiment, play with it, find something that you like and stay with it until you start getting a little burnout, and then find something else. Keep moving. That's the main goal here. If you're experiencing serious anxiety, depression, or stress, please seek medical attention. That is so important. I wish that more people would do this. I think that a lot of times there is, a misunderstanding behind needing help and getting help, a negative kind of vibe that surrounds that. It's not negative. We all need help at some point in our lives. I think if every one of us had some medical attention for our mental health, imagine what the world would be. We all need someone to talk to sometimes. We all need some help sometimes. So no shame there. Please, if you are feeling very anxious or depressed or stressed, please seek medical attention. Remember, you're only one exercise away from a good mood. If you're having a bad day, please try exercise. It will help. The number one reason that people don't exercise is time. When I ask people, I meet with people all the time, why aren't you exercising? Oh, time. We are all busy, but where there's a will, there's a way. You can find the time. I have single friends that have 3 kids that can find time to exercise because they make it a priority. They wake up earlier, or, maybe they get 10 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in on their lunch break or whatever. Squeeze it in when you can. Where there's a will, there is a way. Change perspective and priorities and make it happen. Everyone can do it. I have never met anyone that truly isn't too busy or is too busy to exercise. If you're not too busy to catch up on your shows or to read a book or any of those kind of things, then you're not too busy to exercise. And a lot of times people do all of that at once. They're watching their show while they exercise, or reading their book while they're on the bike. Make the best out of your time. Okay, so I love this image. It's amazing. I really think it's a good eye opener and a good positive way for us to think about things. We can start right here. If we look at avoid, these are all the things that we should avoid. Avoid overcommitting, avoid smoking, procrastination, avoid perfectionism. And it goes on and on. But down here, spend time exercising, spend time walking, spend time in nature. It's amazing what nature and fresh air and sun can do for your mental health. Even on these cold days, get out and enjoy the sun. Bundle up, get out there, get moving, enjoy the sun and that fresh air. It's amazing for your mental health. Spend time eating healthy. Up here, we can come and look at practice. Practice positive thinking. Positive thinking, if you start your day with positive thoughts and just take a couple breaks throughout the day to think about those positive thoughts, it's amazing what that can do as well. It's really impactful. If you're always focused on the negative, you're going to bring negativity. If you're always focused on the positive, you're going to bring positivity. So really focus there on the positive. Practice deep breathing. Practice gratitude, being thankful. Always take regular breaks. Always spend time planning. Always clarify goals, clarify priorities. So I just think that this is a really nice thing to remind us how to be more positive, how to focus on the good things in our life and the things that are going to help us, and how to quit thinking about and focusing on the negative things that are going to impair our improvement.